Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Agents to Owners podcast. With me today, I have one of the most innovative insurance agency owners in the country, all the way from San Diego, California, Mr. Mike Fusco. He is the CEO of Fusco Orsini and Associates. Mike, welcome to the program. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Brad. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I am looking forward to learning a lot about what you are doing. In your agency, the innovative approaches that you're taking. There's a few different areas, but specifically with what you're doing with your RPA bots. Like if we were just talking about, I heard you on other programs, discussing these, and I think this would be helpful for many of us out there, helpful for myself of what I'm doing in my agency. So I'm hoping I can learn a little bit, and then our audience can as well. So for those that don't know you, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background and how you found your way into the insurance space?
Yeah, man. I think like most of us, I kind of fell into it, but I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe you wanted to be in insurance, but I don't know.
I wasn't one of the 2% that had a parent in it or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. No, I grew up in the Northeast. I grew up in New Jersey and went to school in Maryland and moved out to San Diego in 2001 with a bunch of buddies from college.
Okay.
With no job and just a suitcase. Lived on the beach. Didn't realize I had to make a living somehow. So that's when I fell into the insurance biz, man.
No way.
Oh yeah. I started working as an independent at an agency that it was like, okay, no base, straight commission, all E&S business.
Oh man.
Mostly in construction. Sink or swim, every man for himself.
Yeah.
Get your own leads, It was fun.
Okay.
But it was good because I was young. So I didn't have a mortgage. I wasn't married at the time. I didn't have kids. So, man, that's how I learned the business. I was there from 2005 to 2010 and then started this agency in 2010.
Let me ask you this, because I don't do a whole lot of E&S business, just a little bit. I actually try to avoid it for the most part. Has it changed a whole lot? Because it seems like, working in the E&S space is like 1987.
I love E&S, man.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if I could write E&S all day long, I would.
Wow.
The problem is that, your clients have to agree to that too, right? But
right.
And are you giving your client the best product and all that good stuff?
Yeah.
But no, I love E&S. I mean, when I started this agency, my focus was to be able to handle E&S in a much more efficient way than we did at our old agency. The place I left, we were faxing freaking 50 documents to sign. I didn't have a good system for supplemental apps or for building proposals so, I wanted to do that all in a better way. And now start to finish, I mean, we can get an E&S proposal with all our disclosures, applications, everything we need signed and out to the customer in, less than a minute. So we, that's something that, we focused heavily on doing it in a good way, because as you say, the E&S business in general, when you're dealing with the middleman, again, MGU, MGA, wholesale broker, it's very inefficient. It's very 1987.
Yeah.
It's, you're not going online and rating a policy and generating a proposal from the carrier, and you're not doing any of that. You have to have your own process. Yeah. So, yeah, man, I love it. I mean, we love it here. We're in California, which is a heavy E&S state. We write in a lot of E&S industries, construction, manufacturing, high hazard. So we got to be good at it, right?
Yeah. What kind of tools are you using to help speed up that process?
I mean, one of the best things that we did was we built out, not just our automation, but we built out an API build between our CRM and our e-signature platform, which essentially allows us it allowed us to build everything in the back end and then merge all the fields straight from our CRM into our e-signature platform with the click of a button. It calls on an API. And again, it takes us, if we can call on each template straight from our CRM. We can select which templates we want. all our D1 forms, our SL2s, our, broker fee disclosures, our accords, our anything we need, we call on it, and then it's all pre-filled and pre-built straight into our e-signature platform. So, what used to take us 30 minutes every time we wanted to send out a proposal, now, like I said, it takes us less than a minute.
Wow.
Wow. And when we do about 8,000 envelopes a year. So if you do the math on that, I mean, that's a shitload of time saved. So part of my language, sorry guys.
Yeah,
that's a lot of time saved, but yeah. So
what is your kind of your target market that you're writing that requires you to write the ENS business?
We do a lot in construction.
Okay.
That's kind of what we were built on.
Yep.
But we also do, we do product liability. There's a lot of different, product liability manufacturers that need to have ENS.
Yep.
Hospitality. We do a good amount of hospitality in California. A lot of that goes ENS. We do a fair amount of manufacturing. But yeah, just across the board, man. I mean, we do technology, and there's tech, especially if you're talking about, cyber programs or, full on tech, programs, you're going to have to go ENS. So,
yeah. Well, not being fair, I took a shot at the ENS market, but, I've worked with Pro Writers is someone I've worked with for the, for the cyber and the tech.
Yeah. They come highly recommended.
They're fantastic. Their process is fantastic, and so kudos to them for figuring it out and, making it easier, to work with.
Yeah.
So something when I was looking into you a little bit and in your operation, and it seemed to me that, you've also created a kind of a consulting wing called 4C Advising. And to me, that tells me that you are interested in being a partner with these businesses and providing solutions and not just selling insurance. So talk a little bit about your 4C Advising operation.
Yeah, man, that's exactly what it is. I mean, I think in the grand scheme of things, we want to kind of, we never want to be that transactional type of business model where we're just thought about as, writing insurance policies, right? I mean, sure. I mean, we've done well with that. I mean, we are an insurance agency, right? But when you start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, which is, clients relying on you for more than just insurance, right? So we already did a good amount of fee for service business, but we just brought it to another level where we can help clients with risk management, compliance, not internally, right? I mean, we place them with third parties with, we help them, with platforms that they may need to use. We partner with other HR consulting companies that we help them, but I mean, the amount of that we can do is pretty, I mean, we can do a lot of different things. We do employee benefits plans, so we can help people build out compliance documents. Like I told you before, we work a lot of contractors. So you talk about sub agreements, you talk about return to work programs, you talk about tailgate meeting, things like that. You talk about tracking subcontractor compliance, AI certificates, helping them stay in line with that kind of thing. So it goes on and on what we can do, right, as insurance people. But how do you kind of separate that from the transactional insurance world to more of the consulting partnership, fee for service type business? And that's what we do with 4C.
So that's been going for a couple of years. How has that taken off? And is that something that you've essentially used to, you've already had this book of business. Is that something you went to your book of business to provide that offering to them?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. We had the fee for service before we launched 4C last year. Okay. But before that, we did it under the agency brand.
Got it.
I thought that was kind of confusing for customers.
Yeah.
Because again, you people think of you as an insurance agency, right?
Yeah.
So we decided to kind of break it off into a separate brand. And yeah, I mean, we do cross sell, but we also get a lot of business that comes in to 4C alone. without the agency information. For example, like audit support services. We get a lot of people that call us that aren't clients that are having struggles with audits. Their brokerage, their broker agent isn't helping them. So we'll help them bring them, handle the audit, right? Go through the audit with them, do it for them, guide them, things like that. So that will come in just standalone.
That has to be huge in the construction space. I mean,
yeah.
how many groups out there want help with their audit? They all hate that. I don't care where they are.
Oh, they hate it. They hate it. Yeah. They hate it. And
wow.
Yeah, and people, people call us for it.
Yeah, so then is the reverse true? Like if they come in the door that way, they become, you provide a solution for them, then you can also work their insurance. I'm not telling you anything new, am I?
No, I mean you're right on. I mean, it's just it's a way to gather more prospects, right? I mean, you have somebody that says, "Hey,
brilliant.
I have this work comp audit. My agent's nowhere to be found. I don't know what the heck to do." Okay, well, we can contract with you to do the audit, and then by the way, when the audit's over, we can also represent you on the policy.
Yeah, and talk about you've already earned their trust. Brilliant, man. You're more impressive than I thought. Let's transition into your what I reached out to you for, your RPAs and how you are using them to operate your business more efficiently. And for those that don't know, and I'll be honest, I looked it up just yesterday, what RPA stands for, and how it works in your business.
So different people will tell you RPA I'm pretty sure online it's robotic process automation, but I call it repetitive process automation.
Okay.
And that kind of sticks with us in this agency because really all an RPA bot will do is just do the same process over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, that's all it is. It's nothing complicated. It's building them out maybe is complicated, but when you think about it from, a macro level, what exactly does it do? It just does the same exact thing over and over and over. So when you have repetitive processes like we do in this business and like any business, right? I mean, we're no different than lots of businesses where there's a lot of monotony in our world. You're doing a lot of the same thing every day over and over again. So, how can you create efficiencies around that and productivities? And that's where RPA comes in. Repetitive process automation. Doing the same process over and over as part of your workflows, as part of your standards and procedures. And it's removing it from your people doing it, or our people doing it, or you doing it, and it's just a bot doing it. Bot works on a machine just like you or I would. Bots log into systems just like you or I would. Bots open emails and send emails just like you or I would. The difference is that they're programmed to do the same step from 1 to 20 the same exact way every single time.
So when you let me go with this direction first. So you have 4 bots, correct?
We have 4 bots right now.
Yeah. So what tasks or what repetitive tasks are these bots taking care of right now for you?
So it's pretty simple, man. I mean, and when you think about bots, how do I put this for people that haven't heard about this? A bot should be pretty focused on particular tasks. So, like, for example, you're not going to have a bot that does non-pay cancellations and then also does client onboarding, right? But you might have a bot that does client onboarding, and in the process of client onboarding also sets up your CSR 24 credentials for your client and your mobile apps. So the way that I think about it is what processes in your agency can kind of fall in line, and how can you develop a bot to kind of take on as much of that as you can, but it has to be streamlined where, one bot's not going to be able to do 5 different things.
Yeah, right.
So we have a bot that works off our Epic renewal list. This is the first bot we built. And really all it does is it works 120 days out. Every renewal that happens on that day. So let's just say today's February 22nd. 4 months from today is June 22nd, right? it takes every renewal in that list, moves it into our CRM. And the reason we love our CRM for all client relations, because that's where we automate everything. That's where we automate.
Right.
And I told you before, that's where we build our proposals. That's where we do our surveys.
Yeah.
That's where we send our mailers. That's where we send all our texts and our emails. Everything is done out of our CRM. That's our hub. Unfortunately, when it comes to the AMSs, and Brad, as an insurance agency owner, there's always that constant friction between agency owners and AMSs because they simply don't do enough, right? Yeah. They don't do enough for what we need to run efficient, productive, and profitable agencies. I mean, we need them. We need our AMSs, and they're slowly getting better, but they just don't move quick enough. Right. They're not customizable enough,
right,
for it to do what I want it to do. And our CRM does what I want it to do because we built it. Yeah. We built it the way we want it. So the first RPA simply takes our renewal list and drops it into our CRM so that our broker and account manager, account exec can go in and work the renewal straight from our CRM where we want it to be. So, all those data points that it takes out of Epic, put it in our CRM, ready to go. Saves about 7 minutes per renewal. The second one combs our new business pipelines in our CRM. So any account that gets into a new business pipe, whether it's our personal lines or commercial lines, it takes that account and now creates it in Epic as a prospect. Puts in the names, the contact info, the phone numbers, the email addresses, the address.
Yeah.
Takes the account code, puts it back in our CRM. That's what the second bot does. The third bot onboards our clients. We spoke about that before.
Yep.
Every single client, whether it's a new business or renewal client in the agency, gets an onboarding. The onboarding consists of going into our CSR 24 portal, setting up their credentials or updating their credentials if they're a renewal by, maybe changing the password or making it stronger every year. It creates a VOC, certificate of insurance, for that client with the most recent renewal, attaches it in an email with their credentials, with some links to our systems and some of our client perks and all that good stuff. Sends that out to a client in an email. That's our onboarding bot. And then we have a non-pay cancellation bot that puts all of our non-pays into a cancellation retention campaign through a series of texts and emails and that kind of good stuff. So those are the four that are working right now.
So it essentially works between your AMS and your CRM, right? I mean, and inputs and exports information from your AMS to CRM. Is that right?
Yeah. It could do more. I mean, the bot actually, like for our non-pay bot, it could actually read data off of a PDF.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the bots have seats in our CRM and the bot has seats in our AMS. The bot also has an email account because when it sends emails to clients, it sends it from their own Outlook account.
Yeah.
But if you had the bot on a computer, you could see it working. Like you could see the desktop, the bot actually typing and stuff. That's what I'm saying. Like that's all it is. It's taught to do the same steps every time, but it works. The bot actually creates Excel documents for us every single night and lists out all the work that it did and emails it to us the next morning. Like, so when we come in the morning, we have spreadsheets waiting for us. It's pretty amazing stuff, man.
This might be a silly question, but so is there no integration between your AMS and your CRM?
That's not a silly question at all.
Okay.
That's actually the reason I went down the bot path.
Right.
Because there's no out of the box integration.
Right.
Now I use Pipedrive. I use an old C. I use Pipedrive. I'm a Pipedrive guy. So
yeah,
a lot of agency owners nowadays use insurance built, agency Correct. Zoom, Insure Mind.
I'll use our example. So we have Hawksoft and Agency Zoom, and they call it a two-way integration, which is like a half of integration. So
exactly,
it integrates out of Hawksoft into Agency Zoom, and nothing from Agency Zoom, I shouldn't say nothing, but very little goes from Agency Zoom to Hawksoft. That's the problem. And I might not be doing it the most efficient way, but for pre-sale, I basically do everything in Agency Zoom. So, but then the problem is when we have that post sale, that's where we could benefit from a repetitive process like this. Is once we submit it to sold in Agency Zoom, we have to have a person physically put it into Hawksoft. Now we could start in Hawksoft and create a prospect and then send it over into Agency Zoom, but I don't want to do it that way just because then we'd be inputting a lot of prospects and they're still there. Anyway, this is the way that I selected, but this is something that would make sense where if we had a bot to do this, once it goes into sold, then it could create a customer file. And that would literally save, as you've calculated, per transaction, a lot of time. Right? I mean,
that's... Oh yeah, man. Look at, I mean, there's, oh heck yeah. Not just a lot of time, but a lot. I mean, does your staff like doing that? Putting it once they sell an account to put the same information in another system?
Nobody likes duplication, right? That's what we're trying to avoid. And
exactly my point.
Yeah.
So and all of this is duplication because again, we'll go back to it, what I said before and what you just alluded to. The AMSs don't want, they're not there with the integrations, right?
Yeah.
And even if they were, I'm not going to name any particular vendors, but there's vendors out there that claim to be two-way integration with Applied Epic. It's baloney. There is no two-way integration. And even if there was, it still doesn't meet the level of sophistication that I need it to meet,
right,
to do the best job that we can, not only for our clients, but also for our team and also for our bottom line. And that's what the AMS has missed, because every single time you touch that account and you have to duplicate work, you are spending money and you are eroding the commission that you made on that account, which, as we all know, I mean, the clients might not realize it, but we do.
Yeah.
No one account's going to make you the most successful agency in the world, right? So you have to handle a lot of accounts, and you got to do it efficiently and well.
Correct.
So anyway, I can go on and on about that, but man, I looked at an API build between Epic and Pipedrive, and Epic wanted to do it themselves. Applied wanted their software team to build it, because they don't want to release their documentation to anyone to do it with a third-party developer. And if they do, the NDAs are out the universe, so no one wants to sign it. But it was a lot of money, man. I mean, for me to get an ROI on that build, it would have taken me like 3.5 years of my bot spend to come back to a return on investment for that API build. Whereas with my bots, it took me like 4 months to get an ROI. So I mean,
wow.
It's a big difference, right?
I cut you off there a little bit. One of those repetitive tasks, the last bot that you built, which would be huge for an agency that nobody likes to do, is your cancellation list. So talk about I think it'll be extremely helpful for those that do that in their agencies. Talk me through exactly how that works.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a culture killer. Right. I mean, you and I, we're hockey guys, right?
Yeah.
You talk about guys in the locker room, right? I mean, you say, hey, why does this guy getting dealt this guy's a good hockey player. He gets the job done. Why is he always getting traded? Why is he always moving? Well, what we don't know is what happens in the locker room, right? What happens behind the scenes? Is that guy a culture killer with his team, with his organization? Non-pay cancellations are culture killers of any agency. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because your CSRs, your account managers, your brokers, they don't want to see the same client getting canceled every damn month. And you have to do this.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob, your payment of $656 is past due again. You're going to get, who wants to deal with that shit? Right. Yeah. I mean, who wants to look at that every single month? It's a culture killer. So, what we've done is I've completely removed that like from the plate of all of our. I mean, it's probably the most proud I am of any of the bots, because besides assigning a task to the bot in Epic, which takes about 20 seconds, that's all our team has to do now. They don't have to call, they don't have to text, they don't have to email, they don't have to do anything, nothing anymore besides 20 seconds to assign a task to a bot. And the only reason we do it that way is really, I would prefer we don't even have to do that.
Yeah.
I would prefer that the cancellations get sent straight to the bot, whether it be via email or Epic download. But we can't track it. We need to, for documentation purposes, we have to assign the task.
Okay.
Because if something did go wrong, we have to go back and see, how did it come in? And you know how it is. Non-pays come in so many different ways, right? They can come in the mail, they can come in download, they can come e-docs, they can come email, they can come. I mean, there's a million ways we can get them, right? But all we have to do now is assign the task to a bot, and then the bot takes it from there.
I bet that bot made your team the happiest of all the bots.
100. That and the onboarding too, only because it's just a monotonous thing, to have to send the same information, the same thing every single day. I mean, it's not terrible. I mean, I don't think onboarding is a culture killer. Although one problem I did find with onboarding before was that it wasn't always getting done to the level that we wanted it to get done. Whether there was a step missed or, this document wasn't placed in there, whatever it may be. And now it gets done the same exact way every single time. I mean, there's no change in it.
Well, I think you could plug in any monotonous task, that you might not be done, all the steps followed by someone. People get bored and whatever. So
you get bored, you get distracted, you lose concentration on it because it's so monotonous, right?
Talk a little bit about the initial, and now you've had it for a while. What was your team's reaction to you bringing in, a program like this, where I can speak for my team. Just about any time I've brought in a new, shiny object, there's been some reluctance. What is this?
Of course.
Whatever. Yeah. How did your team react to
that's human nature, right?
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to technology, everything we hear around us, people fear their job. I mean, people, we don't want to be replaced by a robot, right? I mean, when we hear about AI and we hear about RPA, and we initially think, oh man, is our job in jeopardy, right?
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of that, and I tell people this all the time. It's as leaders of an agency, it's the way that we have to explain it. That's gonna, and it went fine with me because of the way. I mean, I knew the friction I would if I didn't explain it in the right way. That, hey, look, this is here to enhance. This is here to help. This is here to help you elevate your position within the agency, so that you're not doing things that a bot could do. Right? I mean, think about it. Like, a robot's doing things a bot. I mean, if a robot can do things that we can do, that we don't really want to do, or that we can do more of, or we can do better. We could, revenue generating tasks, talking to clients, taking your CIC course, taking your, learning more about the business, moving from CSR to account manager to account exec to maybe someday a producer. That's how you have to. That's how you have to explain it. That's how you have to roll it out. Yeah. You have to explain it in that regard. And that's what I did. And then that was the first, I mean, man, the first couple of bots were like a no-brainer, because we were wasting so much time putting the same information in two different systems. But that non-pay bot came because I surveyed the team and I said, hey, what do you guys hate doing the most? Like, where are you getting distracted? Where are you getting pulled away from your work? What are things that you really aren't enjoying doing? And that's like the first thing that came to everybody's mind. The next thing is inspections, because clients blow off inspections, and that's the bot that we're building now.
Okay.
But that's another one people hate, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So inspections, what, that's a good segue. What others, is that the only one? How many of these do you want to build? Where to?
I don't even know, man. I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm getting a little bit of fatigue from it just because.
Okay.
No, it's just, it's. Do you ever truly arrive at a like where you want to be? Like,
Right.
when is it too much too, right? I mean, when is
Correct.
it
Correct.
like,
Yeah.
well, the sky's the limit on these things. And the
Mm.
beautiful thing about our industry is that, every agent's different,
Yeah.
right? I mean, our two agencies are not going to operate
No.
alike in it, probably in most ways, right? I mean, we have different cultures, we have different workflows and processes and standards, but every agency could use, as long as you have a workflow
Yeah.
and some sort of processes, like any agency can implement this type of technology to help them knock out some of that low hanging fruit, you know?
Yeah. 100%. Agreed. 100%. So that next question then, give us an idea because I have none. What something like this might cost?
The range is the range that I've heard is extremely wide.
Right. Which is what you want, how elaborate it is, I would imagine. But
Yeah, the company, and don't quote me on this because
yeah. Right.
their pricing could change. Their price
Ballpark.
and there's a startup cost to develop the bot. I've heard anywhere from $2,000 to $50,000. That's how big of a range I've heard, depending on
That's
the
big
company.
range.
It's huge.
Yeah.
So you start to think, well, why such a difference, right? And then of course there's a monthly, right? So for me, like for my bots, they range anywhere from $350 to $650 a month, depending on their range of capabilities and how much upkeep they may need. The bots do need upkeep. I mean, they're not completely maintenance free. And normally that just means, a tweak here and there, or maybe, hey, what went wrong on this particular account. Again, we have spreadsheets that we look at every day. And sometimes the processes aren't completed. I mean, they'll always get you 95% of the way there. Every bot will get you 95% of the way there. But not every day do they get you 100%. So, and then of course you want tweaks, right? I was talking about our onboarding bot. Here's a perfect example. We're going to tweak the bot now to include their Epic account number in the onboarding email now, because we've just rolled out a new certificate of insurance request form that allows our clients to pull data from their account using their account ID number. Well, no one has their account ID number. They keep asking us, hey, what's my account ID number? What's my account ID number? So now we got to train that bot to send the account ID number as part of the onboarding. See what I mean? So little things like that.
Which is part of it, right? If you probably have to tell the developer, this is what I want you to do, right? This is what I want built out. Here's the, mapping fields that I'm looking for. I'd imagine anytime you go through something the first time, you don't think of everything.
You never
because
think of everything.
You just right.
You actually don't think of a lot of things.
Right. Yeah, because you don't know. It seems simpler, and just like I learned with my team when I want them to do something, they can't read my mind, and if I didn't ask them to do it, it's probably not going to get done. Same with the developer in this case, I'd imagine. So what started out as a $4,000 bot very well might turn into $8,000. I would imagine.
It could. The company that I love my partner company that I work with on these bots. I mean, I think they're awesome, but like they don't. And again, don't quote me on this because I don't want to say something that's completely wrong for someone else's experience. But from my experience, they don't charge me more when I needed to make some developmental changes to the bot before we rolled it out. Now, the nice thing is that after we roll it out, I get 12 to 15 hours a month on each bot for any of these tweaks, changes, or anything that may go wrong that they don't charge me for. That's included in the monthly cost. It's also included the hosting of the bot. I think something that I didn't realize is that you could have a workstation for your bot and you don't have to pay for them to host it. It doesn't have to be hosted in the cloud or working in the cloud. It could actually work on their computer. So the first two bots I had, they were working on machines in my office. Well, eventually you're going to run out of machines, or you don't want You don't want a computer to be up all day long. Another problem is like if that computer has an update in the middle of the night and it automatically shuts off and reboots, now your bot lost access to the machine. So all this type of stuff you start to learn over time, right? Yeah, I mean, you change one little field in your CRM and now the bot goes haywire. There's a lot of different things that you have to think about.
So what's your advice? And I guess I'm already thinking this through as I'm asking the question, but what's your advice if someone out there wants to start their, so yes, this makes sense. I can use this in my agency. What sort of things do you analyze of where you start with your first bot?
So you got to have the first thing is you got to have your workflows down pat. You got it. I mean, if you don't have processes already, the bot's not going to do anything for you.
Right.
Because a bot needs to have a bot that's what it is. It's in the name of the bot, right? Repetitive process automation. There's got to be already a process. Now, I have talked to some agency owners that weren't great on their processes. And by developing a bot, it kind of helped them enhance their process to where they knew it was, stable enough or efficient enough to put a bot into it. But I don't know that I would do it that way, man. I think that would be a lot of waste of time. I would make sure that I had my processes down pat first and then try to look to see, okay, where can I put a bot in my processes to help my team or to knock out some of that inefficiency, right?
Yeah.
That's one piece of advice. Second thing is I would say start with one bot at a time.
Yeah, right.
There's a major learning curve, start out with one bot at a time and then build from there. Like we've been doing this for 4 years now. So I only have 4 bots still in 4 years, and they take time, man. I mean, like you say, I mean, you don't think of everything the first time. You don't think of everything the second time. You don't think of that kind of stuff. And things have to be changed. Things have to be tweaked. Things like that, and you never want to put something out, especially when it's client facing, where like client interaction is going to be involved in the bot, where it could be screwy.
Yeah. Didn't you talk, were you going to have a client facing bot at one time? Did I hear you mention that at some point? Or do you have a client facing bot?
Well, yeah, I mean, technically, because our bot, the cancellations and the onboarding, they communicate with clients. So if those bots suck, then your client's going to get some weird things going on.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, and then you look back. Yeah, look back. I think,
right?
I think for these, and you've talked about return on investment, which I think you can calculate that. If you start to figure out how much time my team is investing for this repetitive task, and the cancellation one is a perfect example. Or any of them are, I guess. If you figure out how much it takes to, a second time to input this information, how many times you're doing that a month, what you're paying in staff hours versus what you would pay a bot to do it, you can absolutely figure out what the return on investment is.
100%. Right? It's not hard to calculate that. I mean, we kind of figure between 6,000 and 7,000 hours a year that we've saved. And you think about it. I mean, what an average, an employee works 2,000, 2,100 hours a year full time. That's like the full time equivalent of an annual salary is 2,080 hours. I think it is exactly. Yeah. So we're about 3 people.
Okay.
So think about it. You take your bot spend, then you take your people spend. If you had those 3 extra people.
Yep.
Now we haven't replaced anyone with the bots. We still have the same team. But that's still 6,000 hours that I'm saving in labor costs versus the amount of money I spent to the bot. I mean, I've calculated it almost $250,000 each year in savings as it stands today. Next one I'll do is like my inspections. I mean, how many times do you have to call about inspections or email about inspections or call the inspector or get a phone call from the inspector? How many hours a month are you spending on that?
So you can have a bot trained to facilitate all those communications. Wow.
Yeah, you have to. Again, our processes aren't there yet internally. We don't have the best inspection process yet. It's kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like,
Uh,
shit, what do we do now type of thing. Like
yeah.
everyone kind of does. We don't have a good standard for it, but we're
Yeah.
developing that standard.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once we develop that standard, then that's when we insert Mr.
Yeah.
Bot, and he takes over a lot of that heavy lifting,
Yeah. The other thing I want to get into with a little bit was what I think is probably, maybe the hottest topic around is how businesses are using AI. How are you utilizing AI in your agency?
Man, I'm not great with AI, honestly.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
there's guys out there that I know in the business that are doing a lot more than I am. I
Yeah.
mean, with the exception of content,
Content.
which
Yeah.
I'm not completely sold on some of that stuff, man. I got to be honest. I mean, I was telling a few friends the other day, and they think I'm nuts, but I think that it still has a long way to come. I mean, I just think that it doesn't seem real natural yet. I mean, I think a lot of the content. I mean, I have my two people in my company that do our marketing are excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
And I think you can tell when they write something versus
For sure.
you can, right? I
It's
mean, I just don't, and I know people tweak it to make it their own, and then they get but I still don't think I don't know, man. I think it's missing something, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you, and I haven't found anything personally, and I haven't gotten that deep into it on the on the email side, and I haven't tried. Everybody says they use Superhuman. I have not tried it yet. I've tried some of the others that are, more the GPT, and I think they're terrible. So I don't use those at all
They're,
in the
they're not great, man. I
in
mean,
the email. I use it a lot for content, and
yeah,
that's because I have went down a few rabbit holes of figuring out, well, you got to use this prompt perfect plugin,
yeah.
and which that has helped. But I am noticing, so yes, you can create images. Well, all the images are so obvious now, of
Don't you
where
think
they
they're pretty bad, the images?
I do. But as a now, have I used them? Yeah, I have, and you can tell
Yeah,
every
so
one
have
of
I,
them.
man. Like, I mean,
You
I've used it too, but
you can tell every one of them, but I think that's going to phase out really quickly because there's just again, I am at a third grade level of
yeah, me
of
too.
of, of all that stuff. So I'm
Yeah,
so intrigued by it that, but I don't look during the daytime. I really work, so I don't
same here.
you know I don't jump deep into all those rabbit holes. I don't spend hours a day in it, and then at night I'm usually offline. So
Same here.
um i'll
No,
st- i
I'm with you on that.
I will, and I know there's impactful ways they could be used and implemented, more than just content. But yeah, I use it for a lot of content, but I have to tweak it. I don't
Here's
use
where
it.
I think it could really be helpful in our business.
Yeah.
And here's what I'm looking for it. When can we, at a point, upload an expiring policy and a renewal policy and have AI, summarize what's in that policy and maybe any changes that happen year over year? I
Mm,
know that I know there's companies out there that have done this. I don't think
yep.
they've done it at a level that is usable or cost effective for us yet.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of thing that I think can really save our people time and also, help our customer really understand, where the differences may lie, especially in
Yeah.
nowadays with the hardening market and having to move business. I mean, there's a lot. I look at it as a lot of minds in the field. It's like, hey, is everything matching up, or are they
Yeah.
losing coverage, or there gaps? That's something I think it could really help in. Um, I think, like you said, with the content, like we have AI built into every company now that you use is like there is AI everything, right? But like
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
our texting platform has AI response available. But when one of my brokers responds on AI to a customer's question, I can tell right away that
Yeah.
it wasn't them. I was like, dude, there's no way that's you.
Yeah.
I mean, I
No,
don't care, but it's like the customer knows too. They know it's not them. It sounds nothing like you. You know, the tone
I
is
ju-
not you at all.
I just went through a hiring process. Just hired somebody just beginning of this week, and one of my finalists for this position, she used AI for everything, and AI in her, and like every email was like 6 paragraphs long. And all these crazy words, I'm like, none of these words are coming out of your mouth when we're communicating.
Right.
But every one of your written communication, including your resume, it's all over it. And that was a turnoff to me.
I don't blame you at all.
Yeah.
100%, man. I mean, it's almost like a cheat code,
It is, yeah. So it's all,
And
it also
it's not natural.
correct. It almost seemed a little, I don't want to say lazy, but it has, to me, it still has to be authentic. So to some degree. Now, am I guilty of putting content out there that I didn't proofread as much as I should have? 100%. But anyway, so cool. Yeah, well, that's going to be coming fast. So I'm sure there's others out there that are listening to say, "Oh, dude, you got to use it this way." Hey, reach out, tell me how I can improve it. Love to do it. I have trust issues with it though. Like you mentioned, if you can tell me even what one policy to the next, I'm sure it's right, but there's still a piece of me saying, "Well, that's my ass that's on the line if it's not right."
Heck yeah.
So
yeah.
I know it's
I
smarter
think
than I
it
am.
has a really long way to go, man. I really do.
Yeah.
And again, I think as an agency, as any of us, you, me, anyone else of our colleagues in this industry, that we're independent. What makes us shine through as independence is our that we're authentic, right? I mean, that's how our clients know us. That's how they like us. That's how they've grown to do business with us. That's what we have to be. And I just think when I think about putting stuff out there in the world, and it doesn't seem like us, and it's not authentic, you lose your brand. You lose your
agree.
What you are.
Agree.
You know what I'm saying? That's just the way I look at it, man.
Yeah, I'm with you. Hey, I'm not going to keep you all day here. Thank you very much for your time today. Appreciate it. Really, I think back to the RPA work. I think it's brilliant. And if anybody wants to get a hold of you, what's the best way to get in touch? Get in touch with you.
LinkedIn, man. I like to spend time on LinkedIn.
Okay.
I think people have some really good stuff on LinkedIn. I'm on there a good amount.
Okay.
So hit me up on LinkedIn or just give me a call. Call me at my office, 858-384-1507. I'm always here by my phone. But yeah, man, I think RPA really, to end this off, I think RPA is a really true opportunity for agency owners. I mean, I really do. I think with AI you're still reaching. I think with RPA, it's right there for you. And it can really help you improve your bottom line, improve your efficiency, and also your culture and your morale.
Yeah, I like it. You and your team's going to love it. All right, sir. We'll get this thing wrapped up. Everyone else, thank you for listening to another episode of the Agents to Owners podcast. We'll see you next week.